Fellow students, faculty, alumni who are watching, we are living in deeply philosophical times. It's an age of rich ethical debate where people are really weighing up the significant decisions about right and wrong, good and evil. And where is this ethical disputation happening the most in Australia? Sport. Yes, sport. Rugby league, golf, netball, AFL. All the ethical disputation happens around sport in Australia. I'm not familiar with the lawn bowls community, but I reckon it's probably breaking out there as well. This is where it's at today, people. Forget about studying philosophy at university. If you want high-level discussions of utilitarianism, you need to watch the footy show. I'm just waiting for the day that Andrew Johns and Brad Fittler start discussing John Stuart Mill. And here is my dream for an audiobook. Aristotle's Ethics, as read by Ray Warren. You know you want it. In the first week of this month, the evangelical Christian Andrew Thorburn was strongly encouraged that he must choose between his new role as Essendon CEO or his leadership in the Melbourne church City on a Hill. For to stay in leadership over City on a Hill would be immoral, according to the Essendon Football Club. Now, when I grew up in the 1990s, people talked about the postmodern world as if it would be the end of absolute morality. Everything's relative, dude. Life's a carnival and we all get to have a stall. Do it your way. And yet 25 years on, the world seems more morally certain than ever before. It's just that the morality has changed. The modern moral order remains filled with conviction. The morality is different. So Christians feel a little blindsided by the Thorburn case because he didn't tweet a painful meme. He didn't actually himself do anything in particular, except that he belonged to the leadership of a Christian community which espoused a traditional sexual ethic and had made clear their antipathy towards widespread abortion. In response, Christians felt aggrieved and wanted to clarify. We don't think we're homophobic. When we speak about sexual sin, we're speaking about actions, not orientations. We're holding to the same ethic that we've held for generations. The moral commitments we hold to as a voluntary community of faith do not prevent us from enabling and even supporting people to be able to live by different convictions if they so choose. But at present, that kind of stuff, it just mostly falls on ears that will not listen. Kelly Underwood, one of Australia's finest sports journalists, said on the ABC sports program Offsiders, and note the sports program Offsiders, there's no difference between homophobia and racism. So ask yourself, if they were racist comments that were posted on a website which he represents, what would have been the outcome? What Connolly is veering towards, and she is by no means alone, what Underwood is veering towards is the sentiment that discovering Thorburn's private membership in a City on a Hill church is akin to finding out about his private membership in a white supremacist group. When we come with our nuance and our clarifications to the secular ear, it sounds the same as saying, hey, my personal racist views won't affect my ability to do the job. Immediately you feel like that's unfair, like that's repulsive, that isn't even manifestly unjust, and I hear you. But what it signals is that most moral debates, and this has been true throughout the centuries, but most moral debates aren't just conducted with our brains or by a careful defining of terms. Generally speaking, it's mostly what we feel in our gut. None of us have got the wherewithal to think philosophically all the time. We all necessarily rely on our gut-level moral intuition to guide us. There's nothing new about that. It afflicts all of us, Christians, Muslims, atheists. It's a human trait. So in his book, The Righteous Mind, the social psychologist Jonathan Haidt argues that human beings usually go with their gut, their immediate intuitions, before they ever think hard about something. Indeed, by the time we think hard about something, we are normally just thinking of a way of defending where our gut has already taken us. Here's the issue: the gut feel of our culture has changed, which means when we bring the gospel to that lost and broken world, we aren't just speaking to minds or even to hearts necessarily, we're speaking to guts. It's a wonderful image, isn't it? At present, there is a suspicion of Christian faith, and in particular, a suspicion of Christian morality. It's far deeper than intellectual suspicion. It's deep down in your guts. When you reveal to someone you are a Christian, they are often saying to you, "That fills me with dread and with a certain kind of repugnance," kind of like if someone said to you, "Can I share with you how much I like Vladimir Putin?" You feel that? That's what they feel. That's where they start from. There is no magic formula here. I don't have some one-size-fits-all strategy to speak to someone's gut, to their intuitions, but it helps to realise that people see their world not just through their minds, but through their feelings. Now, the happy truth is that this situation actually majorly overlaps with the situation of the first Christians. Christians weren't just derided as intellectually stupid or wrong, they were branded as deviant. They were kind of creepy. You hear that in the background of books like 1 Peter. And as much as it might sadden you, it's helpful to acknowledge their feelings, not to agree with them, but to appreciate that's where their intuition is. You can whinge, you can complain, but if your hope is to share the good news with people, then it's okay to kind of name the elephant and say, "You're a bit scared of me, aren't you?" That also means that we can adopt the same methods of gospel persuasion that the scriptures are calling us to. They remain beautifully similar across the centuries. Gracious speech, which is also courageous speech, faithful presence, and a sacrificial commitment to love, bless, and serve even those who might dislike us. Not because it'll necessarily work, but because it is the way of Christ. And it reminds us to pray that hearts and minds and guts would change, and that we might be a people of Christ-focused speech and Christ-like deeds, so that somehow, through our words and actions, people might come to praise our Father in heaven.